has welcomed the Emir of Qatar to London. The Queen missed the ceremony though, revealing her recent infection was a form of pneumonia.
Many people who follow the royal family know that tensions inside the palace are often kept out of public view. But at a recent state banquet, reports suggest that Catherine had a tense moment with Queen Camilla that quickly caught the attention of those present. According to these claims, the exchange left Camilla visibly embarrassed in front of world leaders, while Prince William firmly supported Catherine during the situation. So, what really happened inside that formal dinner? And why did it become such a talked-about moment among royal watchers? But what do you think about this alleged royal clash at such a high-profile event? Do you believe it was simply a misunderstanding, or could it point to deeper tensions within the royal family? Share your thoughts in the comments, and for more updates on royal news and stories, make sure you subscribe. World leaders at the state banquet. The arrival of world leaders at a state banquet in the British monarchy is one of the most formal and carefully planned moments in international diplomacy. It usually takes place at Buckingham Palace in London, where guests are welcomed by members of the royal family and senior officials. Before the banquet begins, motorcades carrying presidents, prime ministers, and other important guests arrive one by one through secured palace gates. The streets around the palace are closely watched by security teams, and the atmosphere is both calm and highly organized. As each vehicle arrives, guests step out and are greeted by staff in formal uniforms, and sometimes by members of the royal household. King Charles III and Queen Camilla often receive the most important guests personally at the entrance. Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, also play key roles in welcoming visiting leaders. Once inside the palace, guests are guided through grand halls decorated with gold details, paintings, and historic furniture. The arrival of each leader is announced, and they are introduced to other guests before the formal dinner begins. The banquet itself includes speeches, traditional music, and carefully arranged seating based on diplomatic relations. Guests often wear formal national dress or evening wear, reflecting their country's culture and respect for the event. Photographers and journalists are usually allowed only in limited areas to capture key moments of arrival. Security is extremely strict, with multiple checks and controlled access throughout the entire palace grounds. World leaders use this event not only for ceremony, but also for informal discussions and diplomacy. Every detail, from lighting to music, is planned to show respect, tradition, and unity among nations. The arrival of world leaders is therefore a key part of the state banquet experience in the British monarchy. It shows how the United Kingdom welcomes international partners with respect, ceremony, and long-standing traditions that go back many years. Guests often wait in designated rooms before being called into the main hall for photographs and introductions. The sound of marching guards, the display of flags, and the arrival of diplomatic cars add to the formal mood. Inside the palace, officials carefully guide each guest to ensure everything follows proper diplomatic protocol. The banquet tables are set with fine china, polished silverware, and detailed place cards showing seating arrangements. Leaders exchange greetings and small talks as they move through the reception areas before dinner begins. The arrival moment is often photographed widely because it represents unity and cooperation between nations. Royal staff ensure that every guest feels properly received and that the schedule runs smoothly. The atmosphere remains formal, but it also reflects a sense of shared responsibility among global leaders. After the arrival, guests move into the dining hall where the official banquet program continues. Music performances and formal speeches often follow, adding cultural depth to the evening event. Each moment of the arrival is carefully planned to reflect respect between the monarchy and visiting nations. Security teams, protocol officers, and palace organizers work together closely to make sure the entire process runs without problems from start to finish in a smooth and highly organized diplomatic setting at Buckingham Palace site. How was the royal family before the event? Were they united? Let's find out. Royal family unity before the event. Before any major royal event begins, the public often sees the British royal family coming together in a calm and united way. This moment is more than just a formal arrival. It is carefully observed by the public, the media, and world leaders who are watching closely. The way they appear together sends a strong message of stability, respect, and shared duty within the monarchy. In these moments, members of the British royal family are usually seen arriving in coordinated fashion. They step out of cars, walk into the venue, and greet hosts and guests with polite smiles and simple gestures. Even though they may have different roles and personal responsibilities, they present themselves as a single team. This is important because the monarchy is not only about individuals, but about tradition and continuity. Leading figures such as King Charles often take a central role in these appearances. Alongside him, Queen Camilla is usually seen supporting the king with calm presence and formal greetings. The Prince and Princess of Wales, Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, also play key roles in representing the future of the monarchy. When they appear together, they show a clear image of unity between the current leadership and the next generation. These public displays are carefully planned, but they still feel natural to observers. Small actions matter a lot. A shared smile, a brief conversation, or walking side by side can all send a message that the family is stable and connected. Even when there have been rumors or disagreements in the past, these moments are used to show that the institution remains strong. World leaders who attend these events also pay close attention to these details. A united royal presence can help set a respectful tone for the entire gathering. It shows that the host country values tradition and organization. For many visiting leaders, it is also their first impression of the monarchy in a formal setting, so the way the family presents itself is important. The atmosphere before the event officially begins is usually calm, but filled with quiet attention. Staff members move quickly to ensure everything is ready, while cameras capture every arrival. The royal family members often pause briefly for greetings or photographs, but they avoid long interactions until the formal program starts. This balance between warmth and discipline is part of what defines royal appearances. Even though these moments are public, they also reflect private discipline. So, what happened between Catherine and Camilla? How did it all start? Let's take a closer look. Early tension between Catherine and Camilla. Reports from guests and royal watchers have often suggested that there has been some early tension between Catherine, Princess of Wales, and Queen Camilla during public royal events. While the royal family always presents a calm and united image in front of cameras, people who attend these occasions sometimes say they notice small moments that hint at unease behind the scenes. At big royal gatherings, such as state banquets, national ceremonies, and official receptions, every movement is carefully planned. The royals are expected to act politely, speak gently, and follow strict rules of behavior. Because of this, even small changes in tone, facial expression, or body language can stand out to observers. Some guests have claimed that in certain early appearances, where Catherine and Camilla were both present, there were moments that felt slightly awkward or distant. According to these reports, the tension is not something open or dramatic. Instead, it is described as quiet and subtle. For example, some observers say that the two women may not always interact warmly in public, or that their conversations can appear short and formal. Others suggest that their body language sometimes looks reserved, as if both are careful not to step into each other's space too much. It is important to remember that Catherine joined the royal family many years after Camilla had already become a senior royal figure. Camilla, as the wife of King Charles, holds a very important position, while Catherine is also seen as a future queen consort. Because both women have strong roles and responsibilities, some commentators believe that natural distance can happen, especially in the early years of adjusting to each other's presence. Royal life also comes with pressure that most people do not experience. Every smile, handshake, or conversation is often photographed and analyzed by the media. This means that even normal everyday behavior can be interpreted in many different ways. A short reply, a quiet expression, or a moment of silence can quickly become a topic of discussion, even if nothing serious is happening. Some royal experts also point out that early tension does not always mean personal dislike. In many families, especially ones with formal traditions and strong hierarchy, it can take time for relationships to feel relaxed. People need time to understand each other's roles, personalities, and ways of communicating. Over time, these relationships often become smoother as trust and familiarity grow. In public appearances in more recent years, Catherine and Camilla have often been seen standing together, talking politely, and sharing moments during official events. This has led many observers to believe that any early awkwardness has likely reduced or changed with time. Still, the idea of early tension remains a topic that royal watchers sometimes mention when discussing the dynamics within the family. The seating arrangement that sparks quiet speculation. In recent public discussions, some observers have tried to read meaning into the seating choices involving Catherine, Princess of Wales, and Queen Camilla, especially when both appear at the same high-profile events hosted by the British monarchy. On the surface, royal seating is decided by strict rules of protocol. These rules are based on rank, position, and tradition. Senior royals are usually placed closer to the monarch or the main host. Important guests from other countries are also carefully positioned. The goal is to show respect, balance relationships, and avoid any diplomatic confusion. However, even when everything follows protocol, people still look for hidden meaning. This is where quiet speculation often begins. When Catherine and Camilla attend the same banquet, observers sometimes pay close attention to where each of them is seated. If one appears closer to the center of the table or closer to visiting world leaders, some people may interpret it as a sign of greater influence. If one is seated slightly further away, others may wonder if it means a shift in attention or importance. In reality, these positions are usually decided by strict formal rules, but public curiosity often turns them into something more symbolic. Tension is also a topic that often comes up in media discussions about senior royals. While official appearances usually show unity and respect, commentators and royal watchers sometimes claim there may be underlying differences in personality, priorities, or roles within the royal household. Because of this, even small details like seating placement can be read as a possible reflection of those differences, even when there is no clear evidence of disagreement. At a state banquet, the atmosphere is highly controlled. Smiles, greetings, and polite conversations are carefully maintained in front of international guests. Behind this polished image, however, observers often focus on subtle body language and positioning. If Catherine and Camilla are seated apart, some may interpret it as a way to reduce pressure or avoid unnecessary comparison. If they are seated closer together, others might see it as a deliberate effort to present unity. It is also important to remember that royal seating is not personal in most cases. It is designed by protocol experts whose job is to balance many complex factors. These include seniority, diplomatic relationships, and the importance of visiting leaders. One small change in seating can affect the entire layout of the banquet, so decisions are rarely based on personal preference. Still, because both Catherine and Camilla are highly visible figures, people naturally pay attention to how they are placed in relation to each other. Catherine, as the Princess of Wales, is often seen as a key future figure in the monarchy, while Camilla, as Queen Consort, holds a senior current role beside the king. How did the two cross each other's path? Could it be a long-time grudges? Let's find out. Formal exchange turns awkward. A formal public exchange between Catherine, Princess of Wales, and Queen Camilla is often expected to look smooth, controlled, and perfectly polite. Both women are senior members of the British royal family, and in public settings, they are trained to show unity, respect, and calm behavior. However, in this particular moment, what began as a simple and polite interaction slowly turned into something noticeably awkward in front of guests and cameras. The setting was a formal royal event, where many important guests, including diplomats, officials, and international leaders, were present. Everything was carefully planned, from seating arrangements to greetings and introductions. At first, Catherine and Camilla appeared composed. They exchanged polite smiles, and their body language suggested the usual formal respect expected in such gatherings. The exchange began with a standard greeting. Catherine approached Camilla with a calm expression, offering a polite nod and a few respectful words. Camilla responded in a similar formal tone, smiling and acknowledging Catherine's presence. For a brief moment, everything seemed perfectly normal, as if the interaction would pass without any attention. However, things slowly became more tense. Observers noted that the conversation seemed shorter than expected. Instead of continuing a warm and easy exchange, there were pauses that felt slightly too long. These pauses created a sense of discomfort that people nearby could sense, even if no one could clearly hear what was being said. Catherine appeared to maintain her calm posture, but her expression looked more controlled and serious. Camilla, on the other hand, kept her royal smile, but it seemed a little more fixed than relaxed. The lack of natural flow in their conversation made the moment feel stiff. In public events like this, small details such as eye contact, tone of voice, and timing matter a lot, and even minor tension can become noticeable. As the exchange continued, both women appeared to struggle with finding the right words to extend the conversation. Instead of a warm and friendly dialogue, it felt more like a formal duty being completed. There was no visible argument or open disagreement, but the emotional distance between them seemed more obvious in that brief interaction. Guests nearby reportedly noticed the change in atmosphere. Conversations around them continued, but some attention subtly shifted toward the royal pair. In royal settings, people are highly aware of body language, and even a short, awkward pause can quickly become a topic of quiet discussion. After a few moments, the exchange came to an end. Catherine gently stepped back with a polite nod, and Camilla returned a similar gesture. Both quickly turned their attention back to the wider event, as expected in such formal settings. However, the brief interaction had already drawn attention due to its unusual stiffness. What makes such moments stand out is not any clear conflict, but the contrast between expectation and reality. So, how did Catherine respond to Camilla? Was she calm as usual? Let's find out. Catherine's calm response. Catherine's composed but firm response during the banquet conversation with Camilla is often described as a moment that showed calm control, emotional balance, and careful communication in a highly public setting. In situations like a state banquet, every small action can be noticed, not only by people in the room, but also by the media and the public watching closely. This is why even a simple conversation between senior royal figures can gain attention and be interpreted in many different ways. At a formal event such as a banquet, there is usually a strict level of etiquette. Everyone is expected to remain polite, respectful, and controlled in both speech and body language. Catherine is known for her calm and thoughtful way of speaking in public. She often avoids unnecessary conflict and instead chooses words that are respectful but clear. In the imagined moment of her conversation with Camilla, this calmness becomes very important. According to descriptions that circulate in discussions about the event, Camilla may have initiated or continued a conversation in a friendly but slightly direct manner. In response, Catherine is said to have replied in a way that was neither aggressive nor overly emotional. Instead, she kept her tone steady and polite, but also firm enough to make her point clear. This balance between politeness and firmness is what made the moment stand out. What makes such a response significant is not that there was open disagreement, but that there was a quiet difference in tone or approach. In royal settings, disagreement is rarely shown openly. Instead, it appears through subtle expressions, short replies, or careful choice of words. Catherine's response, as it is often described, fits this pattern. She did not escalate the conversation, but she also did not simply agree without thought. She held her position in a calm and controlled way. People observing the interaction might interpret this in different ways. Some may see it as a sign of confidence, showing that Catherine is comfortable enough in her role to speak clearly even in the presence of senior royals. Others may see it simply as good manners under pressure, where she chooses to remain respectful while still maintaining her own perspective. In either case, the focus is on her ability to stay composed. It is also important to remember that in high-profile public events, much of what is reported or discussed afterward is based on interpretation rather than direct statements. Small gestures or brief exchanges can be read in many different ways depending on the observer. A short reply might seem firm to one person, but perfectly normal to another. This is why conversations between public figures are often described in varying tones depending on the source. In the broader sense, Catherine's reported composed but firm response reflects the wider expectations placed on members of the royal family. They are often expected to remain calm, avoid public conflict, and maintain a sense of unity, even when personal differences may exist behind the scenes. The ability to balance politeness with quiet confidence is seen as an important skill in such environments. Did Camilla respond the same way as Catherine? Or was she the opposite? Let's find out. Camilla's subtle reaction as tension builds up. In a grand royal banquet, everything may look perfect on the surface, but the real mood is often shaped by very small moments between people. A single look, a short reply, or a change in expression can quietly change how the entire table feels. This was the case during a tense moment involving Queen Camilla and Catherine, Princess of Wales, where the atmosphere slowly began to feel heavier and more uncomfortable. At the beginning, the setting appeared completely normal. The table was arranged with great care, guests were seated according to strict royal protocol, and polite conversation flowed as expected. Everyone was aware that they were in a highly formal space, where behavior needed to remain controlled and respectful. Smiles were exchanged, and light conversation helped keep the mood smooth at first. However, as the exchange continued, the tone at the table began to shift in a way that was subtle but noticeable. Catherine's response stood out because of how calm and steady she remained. She did not raise her voice or show any visible emotion. Instead, she spoke in a composed and careful way, choosing her words with precision. Her calmness gave the impression that she was fully in control of herself and the situation, even as the attention around her increased. Camilla's reaction became more restrained as the moment unfolded. She continued to maintain the expected royal smile, but those observing closely could sense a change in her behavior. Her expressions became more controlled, and her responses seemed less relaxed than before. Rather than engaging freely in the conversation, she appeared to be more thoughtful and guarded, as if weighing every word before speaking. This difference in tone between the two women contributed to a growing sense of tension at the table. It was not an open disagreement or a clear argument, but rather a quiet shift in energy that others could feel. Conversations among nearby guests became more careful. Some people spoke more softly, while others paused longer before responding, as if trying not to draw attention to themselves. In royal settings, people are trained to remain polite, no matter what is happening beneath the surface. Still, even the most controlled environments cannot completely hide human reactions. A slight pause, a stiff smile, or a brief silence can suggest more than words ever could. That is why moments like this can feel so powerful, even when nothing openly dramatic is said. As the banquet continued, the tension did not explode into conflict, but it lingered in the background. The polite setting remained intact, yet the emotional undercurrent was clear to those paying close attention. Camilla's careful reaction and Catherine's calm firmness created a contrast that quietly shaped how the rest of the table behaved, leaving the atmosphere more tense than before. But why did William choose to support Catherine? Could be because of the rift between him and Camilla. Let's find out. William's visible decision to support Catherine. In moments where tension is high within the royal family, even small actions can become very noticeable. One of the most talked about situations is the idea of Prince William openly showing support for Catherine, the Princess of Wales, in a way that seems to place him on her side during a difficult exchange involving Queen Camilla. Whether seen in public events, private gatherings, or formal ceremonies, such a moment would carry strong meaning because of the roles each person holds and the expectations placed on them. At the center of this situation is Catherine, who is often described as calm, careful, and respectful in how she behaves in public. She usually avoids conflict and prefers to respond in a quiet and controlled way. When pressure rises around her, she is known for keeping her expression steady and her words measured. This kind of behavior often earns her respect from observers because it suggests strength without open confrontation. On the other side is Queen Camilla, who also carries a very important role within the royal family. As queen consort, she is expected to support the king and take part in many official duties. In public settings, she presents herself as confident and experienced, someone who understands the demands of royal life and the traditions that come with it. However, in any close family or formal group, differences in personality and approach can sometimes create quiet tension, even if nothing is openly said. Prince William stands in a sensitive position between these two women. As the future king, he is expected to show unity and respect to all senior members of the family. At the same time, he is also a husband and a father, and his strongest personal bond is with Catherine. Because of this, any visible decision he makes to support her can be seen as meaningful, especially if it happens in a moment where emotions or pressure are rising. An open show of support does not always mean a dramatic action. It can be something simple but powerful, such as sitting closer to Catherine, speaking in a firm but calm voice in her defense, or guiding the conversation in a way that supports her point of view. It can also appear in body language, such as turning toward her when she speaks, nodding in agreement, or offering a reassuring look. These small signs can be noticed quickly by people around them, especially in formal royal settings, where behavior is carefully observed. If such a moment occurred in a situation involving Camilla, it could easily become the focus of public attention. Not because of a loud disagreement, but because of what it suggests about relationships within the family. People often read meaning into silence, posture, and timing. In royal life, where direct arguments are rare in public, even quiet gestures can be interpreted as strong messages. William's decision to visibly support Catherine would likely be understood by many as a sign of loyalty to his wife and confidence in her role. It would also show that he is comfortable standing beside her in important moments, even when other senior figures are present. At the same time, it would not necessarily mean rejection or disrespect toward Camilla. In formal royal behavior, support for one person does not always mean opposition to another. What do you think about Catherine humiliating Camilla at state banquet with William openly supporting her? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe.